To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. So sang the birds, and so wrote King Solomon a few centuries before that. As we read in Ecclesiastes 3, in that famous passage that Yestin spoke of 2 or 3 weeks ago for one of these midweek reflections. Well, hello, I should say before we continue, and welcome to another midweek reflection. And today we are thinking about beginnings and endings. That there is a time to begin things and a time to end things. Because the end of July feels like a good time to think about that kind of thing. The end of the school year, the beginning of the school holidays, and certainly for us as restrictions look to keep loosening well into August, as the vaccination program goes from strength to strength, as we keep an eye on the rising COVID rates, it does seem that we're returning to more regular and patterns of life, whether that's in the church or beyond. So beginnings and endings. As a church, we're thinking of the things that we are going to go back to. As you know, we're back in St. David's Uniting Church every other week in the morning and every other week on Zoom with some extra services that Castle Square join in as well. And we are looking towards September and beyond, and at Castle Square, one of the midweek groups, Craft and Chat, are hoping to start again in the beginning of September. Whilst at St. David's Uniting Church, we last week got thinking about planning monthly film and chat afternoons midweek. So more details will be coming about those soon. But it's not a beginning I wanted to talk about today, but rather an ending. For it was the 25th of March last year that in about this position, I did my first of our midweek reflections, and I looked younger and more fresh-faced and less sweaty actually, and found it very odd and said as much. And I think we'll put the very first midweek reflection on after this on YouTube, so you can compare and contrast how we've improved or otherwise since then. But it was 2 days after Boris had announced that lockdown, and the world has changed quite a lot since then. We've seen the lockdowns come and go. We've said sad farewells to friends and happy goodbyes to presidents. We've clapped, we've Zoomed, we've celebrated Easter and Christmas and Easter again. We've quizzed, we've baked, and we've put on about half a stone in weight. That's apparently the average in a survey that came out this week. And these midweek reflections have accompanied all of that. In that very first one, I said that one of our key objectives was to create a space for dialogue between friends and strangers as we supported each other through what was at first a very scary time, and still continues to be a very weird and different time. And I think if that was the objective, we could say mission accomplished, which makes me think of George Bush Jr. So let's move on quickly. But we've certainly engendered dialogue. We've swapped stories, we've shared photographs, we've shown recordings, we've had contributions from Canada and Cayman Islands and Cardiff. We've played games, we've made art, we've created cookbooks, we've raised smiles and thousands of pounds for Christian aid along the way. And now with the summer holidays upon us and those familiar patterns re-emerging then, we have decided that it's time to give these a rest, to say goodbye and thanks for all the fish. So this is going to be our last midweek reflection for the meantime. We've heard from so many within our churches and beyond that our online stuff has been appreciated. And we will certainly be having more digital presence, online presence in the future. I know the Advent and the Lent extra recordings and the calendar and the Holy Week journey were appreciated, and then so much that what we've done have been. And we will continue to have an online presence. And so you might want to join us live streamed every other week or some of our Zoom services, some which are very different from discussion-based ones to storytelling to more contemplative services. But for now, if I can get my words out, I have 3 final things to say. Number 1, a reminder of our ongoing midweek challenge, the bottle tops. In September, we will be doing all sorts of activities and events to mark the season of creation as we look towards the COP26 conference up in Glasgow and raising our voice. That as followers of Christ, we, encourage, demand that our leaders take a serious stance when it comes to the climate crisis and what we can do to lessen it, if not negate it. So please, collect these. Make many cups of tea. Invite people round when it's not raining like today. And save the green bottle tops and put them in my bench. If you live near me, put them through the church letterbox. Give them to Sue Walkling. Give them to your courier. Get them to us in one way or another. And we will be creating something magical out of that in September. Second thing is to say we have an ongoing challenge. So this is the last midweek challenge, which is an ongoing one. So if you've watched any of these videos, if you've enjoyed any of these videos, please consider participating in this final one, because this final one is for posterity, he says, getting slightly excited. Because looking back, as we have been to that first midweek reflection, we've looking back over the past, 16, 17 months, we are encouraging you to think once again of what this last period of time has brought, of what's been easy, what's been hard, and what you've enjoyed and what you've found really difficult. And when did God feel far away? And when might God have felt close? When did you feel most drained? And when did you feel most alive? What have you learned? What have you discovered? What have you been reminded about? And this is what we want to do something with. So, don't turn off. The last invitation is, and I think a couple of you have done this already, but to send a photograph of yourself, preferably the head area, but however you want to take it, and to include with it, written down, and you can write this, as old people used to do, or you can write it like that, or but however you want to write it, we encourage you to share what have you learned through lockdown. So if you could complete the sentence, the thing I have learnt through lockdown is, or the thing I've been reminded about during lockdown is. Anything like that, and just complete the sentence. What have you learnt during this time? The thing I've learnt over the last year is, or the thing that God's taught me over the last year is. It could be something about who you are, how you found this time, your connection with others. It could be something about your world around you. Whatever it might be, what have you learnt during lockdown? And if you've heard those words just now, then you are very able to do this last midweek challenge. So, photograph and the completion of the sentence, the thing I learnt or have been reminded about through lockdown is. And please send that to the email address that's going to be here, to Robert James. So email those to him, or send it to the WhatsApp group and we'll make sure he gets that. Or send it to Marcia, if you've got Marcia's details, and we'll make sure that goes to Robert. Or if you're writing it physically on a Polaroid, or if you use a box brownie to take your image, however you're going to do it, feel free to drop it through the church letterbox. So what have you learned? And with that, the recording that I sent to Beth Ann just stopped mid-sentence, apparently. So perhaps that's an analogy for how the pandemic came and caught us mid-life. Anyway, you missed a couple of minutes of absolutely golden recording, which I couldn't possibly replicate here. So where was I? 1, keep the green lids. 2, send in your what I have learnt through lockdown. 1, just a sentence, complete that sentence, and send in a photograph to the usual channels, and Robert James will be creating something for that, and we'll have it to keep for posterity. And 3, a massive thank you, Diolch, merci, shukran, etc. To all of you for participating in these, because it has been an absolutely community effort. I can't remember what I said in the previous recording now, that you will have, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but it really has been a wonderful community dialogue that we've created. So special thanks to Beth Ann for always uploading these and having to sometimes deal with last minute edits, glitches, etc. Huge thanks to Marcia for transcribing them and making sure everyone who's not online can participate in these, and also for often doing the PowerPoints. And thanks to you for watching, for sending things in, for sponsoring, for buying cookbooks, for all of the sharing that's and support that's been done through these videos and the community with which they've engaged. So I know it's been appreciated by many people, particularly in the first early and very scary days. So thank you for being a part of that. I think that's it. I probably said some other stuff on the bit that we lost, but who knows? That can be found one day and used as an outtake or something. I don't know. So this is it for now. We will be back in some form. Oh, I think Trump said those exact words, didn't he? Oh, that's scary. But we will be back digitally at some point in some way. But for now, go well. God be with you. God bless you. And may you be a blessing to those around you. See you at some point in some way soon.